So coming off of the previous chapter, we saw Sukuna transferring himself from Yuji to Megumi, taking him over in the process. And he also like punched a hole through Yuji and sent him to like another building. And then at the end of the chapter, his head grew like 3 times its size and he was about to like eat Angel. And coming into this chapter, we see that he's only like biting her arm off and then pushing her off the building. So this is really interesting because first of all, I expected him to like, I don't know, eat her whole or something, or at least bite her head off, or at least confirm that she's going to be killed at least. But all he's content with is just taking off her arm. And this could be paralleling to what Okotsu and Rika are possibly doing. And I've talked about this before, but it seems more likely now. And what I mean is that this could be Sukuna taking Angel's curse technique here. Or not completely taking it, or just adding it to his own arsenal. Because when Okotsu was fighting against Takako and Ryu, one of Okotsu's Shikigamis like bit Takako's arm off. And then Rika wound up like biting the arm afterwards, and Ryu speculated that Rika might possibly have to like consume the blood or the flesh of like a sorcerer, and then that way she gains, or Okotsu gains, their ability. Because afterwards Okotsu has the ability to use Takako's sky manipulation. And we've speculated from the beginning that Sukuna possibly has like the innate ability of copying other abilities. Because like he seemingly has 3 at this point, right? Cleave, dismantle, and then the fire arrow stuff. And also going back to me saying that like he's just biting her arm off and he's content with that, it could, you know, mean that he took her ability. And also this could mean that like Okotsu and Sukuna are related, possibly. Maybe Sukuna is related to Michizani too, because that's usually who the Hiener sorcerers are relating Okotsu to. Maybe they all have like that ability to take other curse techniques, possibly. But anyway, Yuji witnesses this happening because Yuji's fine. Because like, you know, like I said before, he got punched through the stomach in the previous chapter. Like the biggest wound that he's taken in the series pretty much, aside from what Sukuna did in season 1, but he's fine. Like he doesn't even have a wound anymore. It's like he underwent reverse curse technique or something. I mean, I guess he had to, right? That's the only explanation for this. So he somehow underwent subconscious reverse curse technique. And it could be something that Kenjaku put into play here. Maybe there's some kind of contingency that activates once Sukuna separates from Yuji, because Yuji is also seemingly at the peak of his power in this chapter, like much stronger than what he usually is. Even Sukuna like mentions it, because we see Yuji like bust off this building here and he winds up like clashing with Sukuna here. When they separate, Sukuna's like, you know, what's that strength? And they fight a little more and Sukuna's like, you know, I get it. The boy is from that time. Kenjaku does the grossest things. So like that time is ambiguous. It really could mean anything. I mean, we can assume it means like that time, like around the time when Yuji was born or conceived or whatever. And it's like, how would Sukuna even be really aware of that time? I mean, I guess he's absorbing the memories of Megumi and Yuji, but also like Megumi technically shouldn't really be around at that time either, or at least self-aware. So I'm not really sure what exactly he means here, but it could have something to do with Kaori, who is Yuji's mother, who we also found out was a sorcerer and has like a gravity curse technique, which I think is going to come back into play later. Like Yuji might develop that as well. But as for Sukuna saying Kenjaku does the grossest things, of course this is referring to how Yuji was made. Like Kenjaku took over Kaori's body and then eloped with Yuji's father and then gave birth to Yuji. Like that is pretty extreme, and I guess you know, it could be considered quote unquote gross, as Sukuna says here, but you know, just further showing how far Kenjaku goes for his plans and his ultimate goal here. But that's a whole story for another time. But also, as we speculated about before, Sukuna is definitely aware of what Kenjaku's doing. Like a lot of these Hiener sorcerers were privy to some information coming into the Culling game, but if anyone knows the most besides Kenjaku himself, it's definitely Sukuna. Like I can't wait till we get a flashback of them conspiring like 1,000 years ago to set all this up. But they have like a little verbal back and forth here, and Sukuna finally starts using his curse techniques, like something we haven't seen since Shibuya. And I think he's using Cleave here. It could be Dismantle. They're both kind of interchangeable at this point, but I assume he's using Cleave, which is like a super impressive curse technique. Like we obviously don't get to see it that much, and comparing it to like the other curse techniques that we have seen, like it's really powerful. Like he's just standing there and Yuji is getting sliced up by this, and as he's coming to an end, Yuji's like, I almost forgot, these guys are and will always be curses. And that is also an ambiguous line. Like curses means a lot in this series. Like curse could simply just mean a sorcerer who is not affiliated with like Jujutsu High, you know, something like that, or or it could just straight up mean cursed spirit without you just saying spirit at the end. As for Sukuna, he's somewhere in between. You know, I think we've all been speculating for a while now that Sukuna is similar to Tengen and that they're both evolving into more than a human and something like a curse, if not just straight up a curse. Also, Sukuna calls like Hana a human in the beginning of the chapter, or he just says humans, which is odd because Gojo said that Sukuna was a human. So I think, yeah, he probably has evolved into something more as to where now he can just call other people humans. But coming to the end of the chapter, Sukuna really amps up his cleave on YUJI and it's just like eviscerating him. But it seems to be going only skin deep. Like he can't eviscerate YUJI the way that he did to the finger bearer Mahoraga. YUJI's just walking this down, just like getting cut up on the surface. And Sukuna realizes that his cursed energy output is low. And this is because Megumi is seemingly taking back control or fighting back more than he was able to. So he's limiting how much cursed energy Sukuna can use, meaning that he can't produce a cleave or dismantle strong enough to like cut beneath YUJI's skin. And then the chapter ends with YUJI just leveling Sukuna here in an awesome panel, which is a very long time coming for YUJI, and I'm sure a lot of the people in the audience. And yeah, that's where the chapter ends, and I'm super excited to see where this goes. Like, this is probably the most hyped the series has ever been at this point. Like, this is where everything has been headed, essentially, right? And I'm pretty sure Gege did say that he wants to end the series this year, or at least in 1 year, so we don't really have that many chapters left. Like, we might have 25, possibly 30 chapters left at this point, so we are getting to the big moments, such as, like, you know, Sukuna separating and fighting YUJI. So from this point on, the series is just going to be at like a 10. Like, everything is just going to be happening, and it's going to be incredible. Like, what happens after this? Does Megumi fully take back control of Sukuna so soon? And that is possible, but then Sukuna is going to transfer to somebody else, possibly. And also, we have to acknowledge that Sukuna still isn't whole. He still only has 15 fingers in him. There's still those 5 others out there, which I think Kenjaku probably has ready for him, because also a couple chapters back, we saw Kenjaku and Urarame in like the Zenin headquarters, I think, and Urarame said that like this would be a good place for Sukuna's bathhouse or whatever. So it's like they already know what's going to happen. They always have. So they probably already have the 5 fingers waiting for Sukuna for him to consume and to become all powerful. But before that, we still have to deal with what's going on with him and Megumi, and Sukuna possibly continuing to manipulate the 10 shadows, and then also Gojo in the prison realm. But now Angel has been taken out of the picture, or, you know, she's still alive, I assume. Hana and Angel. So we still need to have their ability used on the back of the Cursed Realm, which Choso has. I don't even know where Choso is currently, but yeah, there's so much that is still going to happen. So exciting, and I can't wait to talk about it all with you guys. But let me know what you think about all of this stuff in the comments, guys, and what did you think about this chapter? Let me know, and if you liked the video, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.